Chuck E. Cheese, a place where a kid can be a kid, essentially jump-started my childhood. In 1994, I was a 5-year-old boy clamoring at the opportunity to head to this Pizza Time theater to try out all the newest arcade cabinets. The man with the cheese pizza, he introduced me to a number of video games that would impact my life forever. And I couldn't be more grateful with that cholesterol-filled, saturated fat-induced cheese pizza that still affects me to this day. So many good memories. That leads me to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, Turtles in Time, whichever your favorite Turtles arcade game, whatever it may be. It all started at Chuck E. Cheese for me, which leads me to this new game that has been introduced that just recently came out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, a spiritual successor to all of those classic arcade games that I grew up loving so much, that essentially made me a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. So, is it worth your time? Does it give you that nostalgic feeling that we all are clamoring for, us as 90s kids, going through the hustle and bustle of adult life, raising our kids, going to work every day? And let it be known that I am not a serious gamer, YouTube. I'm just a guy that happens to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan from the 90s that happened to notice that this game was blowing up. It had been forever, to be honest, since I had purchased anything video game related to the Turtles. And, I figured I would give this a try to see if it would bring back the same feelings that I had as a child. And that verdict is that it absolutely brought back every subliminal feeling that I could possibly imagine. This game is an absolute masterpiece when it comes to nostalgia of that 90s style way of living. Now, of course, Nickelodeon is still technically the publisher and owner of TMNT, but Timu and Tribute are the video game companies that we have to show our gratitude towards, that is responsible for the creation of this experience. I can't believe it. It is literally a spiritual successor to the games that I grew up loving. Same gameplay, same arcade art style, just with more animations, of course. The fighting style, you move up, you move down, side to side. The one cool aspect that I do love that they did add a dodge button. If you've ever played one of the TMNT arcade, one of the classics before, they're definitely quarter grabbing, difficult curb stomping experiences that really feels like old school gaming. There is different difficulties that you can choose between easy, medium, and hard. I just went with the medium difficulty, and that was just fine. Challenge was just perfect. I never felt like the game was being unfair. Never did it feel like, man, this is too much. This really isn't any fun anymore. It was an even balance of a difficulty throughout my entire 3 to 4 hour experience. It's 16 levels total. The game starts out with the playable characters as the 4 turtles themselves: Leo, Raph, Michelangelo, Donatello. You can also play as April and Splinter, as you're seeing on screen right now. There is one unlockable character. If you're any fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it shouldn't really take a rocket scientist to figure out who the unlockable character is. The other cool aspect of the gameplay is that it also includes the super moves that you can pull off. There's a super meter at the top right hand corner of the power grids for each character there, as you're seeing. So when that fills up, you can pull off a super move that usually does some significant damage to your adversaries. So that's a really cool aspect too, and can really get you out of a pinch if you're getting your butt kicked. The other amazing aspect of this game is there wasn't really any classic villains from the animated series that I felt got left out. Basically, every single villain that I ever saw in the show is in this game, and that is absolutely masterful. I cannot thank the publishers enough for including all those classic characters. It's great, man. Even some cameo characters from the movies make appearances as well. You can't ask for any more than that. Another brilliant aspect that this game has to offer is one of the major tropes that a lot of the arcade beat 'em ups fall into is that all of the playable characters usually feel the same. That's definitely not the case here. Leonardo feels like he's fighting with two swords. Donatello feels like he's fighting with a bow staff. He has longer range. Raphael feels like he's fighting with two sides. He has shorter range and has more power. Michelangelo has timed strikes with his nunchucks. It feels great. April fights with Kung Fu. Splinter fights with his stick. It's great, man. Every character feels like their own. There wasn't really a part of my playthrough that I felt like, this character feels too much like so-and-so, or this character feels exactly like this character. They all had their own personality and play style and strategy when it came to getting through the story. And that's the cool thing about this as well, is that you can either go through the story where you have your overall world map, you can choose to replay levels, you can do challenges, get your collectibles, and do side missions for the characters that you save throughout the story. That's awesome. That's where I spent my majority of my playthrough at. There's also the arcade mode where you can get that true 80s, 90s style classic arcade experience where once you beat a level, it goes right to the next level. It's a little bit of something for everybody here, man. Personally, I prefer a little bit of the new school mixed with the old school. I like to get all those story aspects and the overworld map and take my time in between each level. So there's definitely plenty of options for however you want to play the game. Now, I played the majority of the game by myself, but as you can see, there are plenty of options for multiplayer as well. If you want to have everybody in the same room and you have 6 controllers, that is an option. You can have 6 people playing the game at the same time. If you want to hop online and have 5 other people join your adventure, that is an option as well. I tried it out on the Nintendo Switch, worked out great. I had no issues with lag or really a whole lot of any slowdown while I had other people join my party. It's all great. It works fine. Definitely a masterful piece of an experience when it comes to that classic arcade beat 'em up action with friends, man. It's so good. Such a great experience. Truly it was. Now, I picked this up over the weekend. It was on sale for $22.99. It was a Father's Day sale, so that was a no-brainer for me. I believe the retail price for this is $39.99. That's a little bit expensive, if I'm being completely honest. That might be the only downside to this experience. It's a little bit expensive. I completed my playthrough within about 4 hours. So, I mean, if we're doing it by cash to hours, so that's about $10 per hour. A little bit expensive, if I'm being completely honest, but the nostalgia and the fun factor that I got from it, it's timeless. If I'm, being true to myself and true to other 90s fans and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans, if you want to put it like that. Might be kind of hard for a casual gamer who's never been a fan of the Turtles to hop into this, to spend that kind of money for it. But if you grew up in the 90s, or if you just grew up being a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan at all whatsoever, then this game is an absolute must-have. And I have no doubt that whoever experiences this, it will definitely be on their top 5 or top 10 games of 2022. Now, if it was anything specifically that I would nitpick about the experience, the hoverboard missions. I think it's like 2 or maybe 3, I don't remember, hoverboard missions where it's that on-rails, continuous movement, stages where you don't stop moving. But it really doesn't affect the gameplay too much. I've just never been a fan of those types of levels where you can't stop moving, you just move continuously. Other than that, I love the entire experience, man. But like I said, complete nitpick. It wasn't really that big of a deal at all. This personal preference more than anything else. Now, if I haven't made it abundantly clear by this point, do I recommend this game? Abso-freaking-lutely. Go buy this game, man. This needs to be supported 100%. In my dream of dream worlds, would I love to see a sequel to this experience? Yes, absolutely. I would buy a sequel to this game for the Turtles in a heartbeat. But I would also love to see, arcade-wise in general, I would love to see The Simpsons make a return as well. That was my second favorite arcade cabinet experience at Chuck E. Cheese. Definitely The Simpsons. I'd love to see X-Men make a return as well. Maybe this company can tackle those two franchises as well. They can claim the rights since they did such a good job with the Turtles, man. Hopefully. So let's all get out and support this game, man. We got to do it. $40 is not a bad price for this experience at all. Okay, that's going to do it for me here, man. So if you enjoyed my take on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, make sure you hit that like button. You can pick it up on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. Of course, it's available on PS5 and Xbox Series X as well. So it's across all the multiple platforms, so no excuse for everybody to be able to try it out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to follow content just like this. I've always been a fan of the Turtles. I tend to cover the movies and the video games, and the action figures, not necessarily the comic books, but definitely the main three sources of entertainment from the Turtles I cover on the channel. So you can follow me at youtube.com/marjake79. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, my friends, thank you for the support. Thank you for watching these videos. You allow me to basically live out my childhood and make a minuscule income for it, and I couldn't be more grateful. So as always, I will see you guys on the next one. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.